Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be for you. I'm in a little bit of transition time for this channel here, as is, well, YouTube actually at the moment, and that's what this video is kind of be about. First of all, I just want to touch on the Battlefield 3 commentary is here, right here. Here you go. Here is one team deathmatch as you just saw, and we'll get into the topic in just a second. So calm down, but I may do a few more of these in the near future, hopefully, because I want to get back into it. Now that I have my PVR back here, long story short, we're going to be making some more of these. I hope so. Be sure to request a topic in the comments below for the next video. Anyways, this video is going to be on YouTube partnerships and networks and all that stuff. Back in the day, I got partnered on this channel way when YouTube partnership was a real thing, not when everybody got it and it's just there for everybody, and you know, you can just monetize everything. It took effort. It was a hard thing to do, and you finally got it, and it was cool. You know, I mean, I still remember my first month when I actually finally got a check. Not that it was about that, but you know, it took probably almost 4 or 5 months after I did get the monetization before I actually got a real check, because I was making that little. And for those that don't know, it takes $100 to get a, you know, you have to have $100 minimum. So basically, it was like 5 months to make $100 off YouTube, and that was crazy. And as it started picking up, I started doing better and all that. And YouTube networks were this big thing. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to be signed by a network. And, you know, Machinima was all over the place, and everybody was getting signed, and they were just, all these gaming channels were everywhere, and these guys were blowing up. I mean, these guys were literally going from, like, a couple thousand subscribers to, like, 50,000 plus overnight. They were just blowing. I don't know how it was happening. I was watching, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I had heard about the networks, and I had heard, even back in the day, that it was kind of like, it's not really the greatest thing to do. And to be honest with you, I wasn't approached by any major networks for a while, and eventually after Machinima, you know, word got out that they were just requesting for everybody. I did get a couple invites, and I didn't do it because I had talked to, thankfully, I have been blessed with the friendship of a lot of pretty big name YouTubers, and I'm not going to name drop because it really is not important, but I talked with a lot of them, and they said just be careful with the network stuff. May not be worth it, especially for my size. It may be worth it because of my size. Different people had different opinions, and it was just confusion. So I was like, well, I'll just be safe and I'll stick with AdSense because I know what I'm doing now, and I've been able to do it to this point, and I guess I can continue it, so it can't be that bad. And all of a sudden this thing came up where all these partners were leaving Maker, or Ray William Johnson started it, and then people started leaving Machinima because they were going to do pay cuts, and just craziness was going on everywhere. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And that kind of happened. I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention, but right around that time, I actually was in talks with Fullscreen, and I did sign with them as of just recently, just a couple months ago. And as I signed, I started looking and researching into the topic because all these people were having all these issues with networks, and I was like, did I just sign my death wish for YouTube? Not that it really mattered because I started YouTube not making money, so I guess I can go back to that. It would suck, but I mean, it happens, and you know, I do it for the love of doing it, not for the money. You know, even though the money is, trust me, very nice at this. You know, being a 20-year-old guy who's living on his own, you know, it's tough, and you know, money helps. But other than that, I mean, I signed it, and so I've been looking up research, and I just want to clear up some things here. At least with Fullscreen, so far, they seem to be very helpful. They seem to have increased my bottom line revenue so far, and they seem to have put me in connections with some other people to grow my channel and collaborate so far. So all these people, for those that aren't in the network or are thinking about it, to me, I don't know about the other networks, but Fullscreen seems pretty decent so far. They also have some other select things within there. I can't really talk. Other means of promotion within there. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it. I haven't really read up on it, but it is there, and there's some cool stuff back there, and a lot of ways to make some extra money if you pay attention and follow the rules. And you know, if people may consider some of those things being a sellout, well, you don't have to participate in them, but you can. There's the option to do that. As far as the cuts, traditionally YouTube, I believe, gives you a 65, 45, or 65, whatever that equals, 35 cut, I believe, or something like that. I don't know. I think that's what it was. You get about 55 or 65% of your actual earnings through AdSense. They do keep part of it. YouTube keeps part of it, if you haven't noticed that. So that's not too great of a percentage. And also, there's problems with YouTube monetizing video games and music and all that stuff. And you can't make money off those videos with that if you're through AdSense. Well, through networks you can, because networks, basically how they work is, there's a network who, well, how AdSense works is people pay Google to advertise. And so Google links you with the advertisers, and the advertisers say, I'll pay this much for this many views. Okay, so now Google pays you a percentage of what those advertisers are paying them to advertise on your videos. So, you know, it seems like everybody wins, but you're really getting a tiny cut of it, which is fine because they're hooking up. You have no other way to do it otherwise, unless you join a network, which basically does the same thing. They have their own set of advertisers who will pay them, and then they give you a percentage of that. And this is what I believe. However, from what I can see, this is how Fullscreen works. Anyways, I'm talking about them because I'm with them, so I know a little bit more behind the scenes of that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong with other networks, whoever's with them, and let me know in the comments what your experiences are with other networks if you are with them. But if that's the case, people are saying, you know, YouTube takes 40%, and then, you know, Fullscreen gets paid that percent, and then Fullscreen takes 20% or 30%, and then pays you 70%. So basically, you're only getting 20% or 30% when it comes down to it, if that makes sense. That's hard to explain it. But I don't think that's true. I think Fullscreen has their own advertisers who are paying them, which so you really are going to get either 30% or whatever you worked out your deal to be with them. Usually they offer you 30-70 split, I believe. Depends on the size of your channel and that kind of stuff. And again, if you're going to sign with a network, work with the network. Don't just settle for their first offer. Counter offer and go back and forth a little bit and see what you can get out of it. If they don't offer anything, you know, okay, you tried, but it can't hurt. Maybe you'll get an extra 10%, 15, 20%, I don't know. I mean, depends on what their bottom line offer was and that kind of thing. Also, if you have more than one channel, you know, there's just different negotiating terms. But let's get back to the topic. In my experience, a lot of these rumors of what people are saying are untrue, and it seems like people got butthurt and have hard feelings from other representatives in the network, or how they were treated, or just not being completely informed about them, and they carry it over, and then they spread misleading information about how networks work, or how their specific networks work, or how they got screwed, and it's not necessarily true. It may be, I don't know. Again, it's different for each person's circumstances, but pay attention to these things and do your research. If you do have any questions about Fullscreen in particular, I'd be more than happy to try and look it up for you if I can get some more information from them, since I have the contracts for all of my channels, actually. Signed them all, so I kind of went in all or nothing, and I will let you know. I'll keep you updated as far as if I'm happy or not with how they are treating me and working and all that stuff. But my opinion with the networks is, honestly, it seems to be good so far. Again, this is within the first 2 months of signing, so I can't say, you know, I haven't been in for a year yet. But also, that's the other thing. Try, and which I didn't do, negotiate your contract so it's not signing for 2 years. I mean, if they're confident in their you know, product, their network, they're sure that you're going to re-sign when your time's up. So negotiate for a year or a year and a half, or even 6 months if you can. And if they're that confident, which they should be, that they'll just say, agree to that. So keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. Let me know another topic if you want me to talk about something specific, and I will see you soon.